how do you monetize the social and environmental value your enterprise is generating? Do you have an idea of an example of a social SROI process?
But is that your question, though? I mean, are you asking like how do you measure value in social sector, or are you? Okay, so in that case, there are different tools you can employ. It's pretty much, I mean, in business, you measure your value as in economic return, right? I mean, at least the old way, you sort of do that. But more and more, you see different kind of more integrative thinking around value in business sector coming up. For example, in balanced scorecard, where you make sure you value your customer satisfaction, your financial, your operation, and what is another one? I forgot. Learning and growth. Yes. So there are different ways you can measure your value, but at the end of the day, it's very simple questions like asking, okay, if you are doing something that you think is good for society and so on, how do you measure it in such a way that you think it's successful? You know, what tell that your thing is successful? For example, for Yise, we would say some of our key. So generally, you come up with a very broad kind of key performance indicator of some sort, like so like you say, trying to support young social entrepreneurs. So number one, how many social entrepreneurs we come in contact with, the number and the quality of these kind of people, and how
many can maintain sustainable enterprises for over 3 years. So the various criteria that we can develop.
And also they are like what they have
and the impact that each enterprise generates, really.
Right. So, and there's something called social return on investment. It's trying to basically monetizing all the externality in social related programs. For example, a really simple example would be like if you have a program trying to help farmers, let's say, convert from single crop farming, chemical farming, into organic farming, sustainable farming, เศรษฐกิจพอเพียง type kind of thing. So your value that you can measure is not only in terms of, so number one, direct value to your beneficiaries. That is how you can actually help the farmers get better in terms of their income, in terms of their family relation, in terms of their own health. So direct beneficial kind of value, and then there's indirect kind of benefit that you are doing. Mostly it's measured by mainly public sector saving. For example, if you help one poor family, farming family become sustainable, then you are actually number one, you're saving the government spending on poverty program, for example, per family. So how much is that? You calculate that you are saving environmental government spending on environmental program, like for example in the northeast, or even in the north in general, most of the farmers would still use charcoal for their food, for cooking. So if you make sure there's a way they can actually rely on their own woods from their agriculture as for energy kind of thing, so they like เผาถ่าน themselves, you know, or they do their own charcoal and so on. So you are saving the forest, saving cost of the government that is doing per family, for example, something like that. Or in the north, for example, chemical agriculture actually causes gigantic health hazard, you know. So there are very high government spending on health related costs to the kind of farmers, and also when it comes to Bangkok, you eat and you've got cancer, you know, that kind of thing. So you actually can calculate all that through different government index and so on, and calculate in total, you know, what is the total direct value you're creating for the community itself, or indirect value you're creating as for externality in the society as a whole, as much as you could. And also, if, for example, if that social venture actually have income, for example, it can actually sell something or some solution to the farmer and they buy it, similar to like the water pump he was saying, then there's economic thing. So you can see there's a kind of blended value kind of way that you can actually measure all this thing up. But at the end of the day, it's pretty much like your measure minimum value that this thing is generated, but it can never totally be precise. But if you really think about it on the flip side, it's pretty much the same with business. I mean, the only thing you can be really certain in terms of measurement in business would be the money issue, right? But in terms of organizational learning, in terms of customer satisfaction and so on, you can never really be certain, but you can use different techniques, statistical or something, to get a rough idea of what that can do. So generally, it's just a tool for you to play with and sort of make sure that you got some number to set up a target and see whether you can actually reach it, or if you're not reaching it, how can you sort of change direction. So it's for your own learning. So I think that sort of answers general questions. Oh, did I try to answer too much? Sorry.
Why is sustainability so important for you guys? Why is investing in sustainable, and what do you mean by sustainable?
Exam. Morgan. I mean,
and the idea is that you guys aren't going to rely on getting outside funding for the rest of our life. The idea of the social entrepreneur is that you come up with a project, change the social system, and once that social system has been changed, your work is done. Right? So that's moving on to another thing. So I think that's how I
my thinking would be also, when you look at sustainability as well as in business, right? It's not only financial sustainability, you have organizational sustainability and so on and so forth as well. So basically why it's important is that so you don't just come up with good ideas, spend a lot of time, energy doing something great, and when you get tired or when something got wrong and then the whole thing collapsed and you can't create a lasting value. And in a way, there are different kind of social entrepreneurs that's doing different kind of thing as well. In terms of sustainability, for example, you need not only to be like selling some stuff and make money to make sure you are financially sustainable. You can also create some unique value to any donors, any investor, that they would almost forever work with you in terms of value. Like the same way that you are selling service rather than just begging for money, because donors, investors also have their own targets. So if you are working in value creation, and that's also working. And another example of bringing sustainability is like what Morgan was telling us about Jaru William Moria, the Shine Line in Bangladesh, right? Or in Sri Lanka, India. So once the program is being very clear and it's successful, then she tried very hard to integrate that back into the government system, so it becomes sustainable in that way. For example, last year we were pushing one initiative after the tsunami. When tsunami happened, all these volunteers, organizations just they come together and form some sort of alliance called Volunteer Spirit Network orเครือข่ายจิตอาสา, for example. And these people work on some new group that are work on volunteers because of the tsunami. Some are really, really old group like Bandit Asa Samak Thammasat, And they were saying, okay, why Thailand, every time there's a crisis, they have to be, volunteer, and when there's no crisis, everyone just be happy and nothing ever get done and so on. So they were thinking they should push some long-term way to support volunteerism and philanthropy in Thailand. So they come up with the idea of they go a survey around the world and try to see if Thailand needs some sort of a support system for volunteerism and so on. How would it look like? So they actually look at Singapore. There's something called National Volunteer and Philanthropy Center, which is under the Singaporean government and support volunteers and philanthropy or CSR all year round in Singapore, and it makes a network of people who are working on this kind of thing, especially in business sector, joining together doing that CSR program, not only for their own